Hey guys, CJ here and welcome back to an all-new Hybrid News Now. Let's get down to the news, and we have a ton to talk about today. First up, 5 potential characters for the Flash movie revealed, an update on what's holding up the Shazam movie, then David Goyer's Krypton TV series may be headed our way a lot sooner than anyone expected, and finally an update on Michael Keaton and Spider-Man Homecoming. Let's talk about this Flash news first, as it comes to us straight from El Maimbe's awesome news show, Heroic Insider. He dropped a couple of things during this latest episode that we'll talk about, but the big one is that he somehow managed to get his hands on a character breakdown that's being sent around to a couple of major talent agencies, and that seems to have revealed 5 major characters for the upcoming Flash movie. Now, of course, take this with a grain of salt, and even the things listed in the breakdown are subject to change, so keep that in the back of your mind, but without further ado, let's dive right in. First, we have Iris West, who's a reporter for a Central City newspaper and is described as an over-caffeinated doe, but the biggest piece of news is that they're testing actresses for that role right now, and so a casting might be here shortly. Next, and this is a big one, Eobard Thawne. He's described as always the smartest man in the room, but here's the big twist, he has a degenerative condition very similar to what Stephen Hawking deals with. Third, Fred Shire, a detective and pretty close friend of Barry's who's investigating a mysterious death at Thawne's lab. Fourth up is Lynn Snart, aka Captain Cold, though the feeling is he's going to be more of a muscle-type character than an actual antagonist. Think like KG Beast in Batman v Superman. And finally, this is another big one, Jay Garrick. Now, he's described as a professor who was fired thanks to his obsession with fringe sciences, aka the Speed Force Project, but this is just a cameo role. So this is actually huge if true, and kind of strangely enough, it sounds very similar to the way the CW TV show is set up. But are you vibing with this? Do you think it's real? Are you more excited after hearing this stuff? Let me know in the comments section below. And in our next story, another thing Maimbe talked about yesterday on his show, the progress of the Shazam movie. We talked about this a little bit on this week's Super Friends podcast, but the big news today is kind of the lack thereof. Though the movie's coming in 2019, we have next to nothing about the film, save for the fact that Dwayne Johnson is of course going to be playing Black Adam. We don't have a director, we don't have any other single cast members to star alongside The Rock either. And this is for a very good reason, according to Maimbe, as the studio is reportedly still waiting on a script draft and will begin the search for a director once the script is a little bit more concrete. So, and this is a really tough question to answer, which director do you guys think that they're going to get? I certainly have no idea, and this is why I turn to you guys. Who would you want? Who would be your dream director for this project? Let me know. In our next story, ready or not, David Goyer's Krypton TV series may actually be headed our way a lot sooner than expected. Yesterday, TV Line reported that SyFy is very, very close to picking up a pilot order for the Superman prequel series. A little bit of a quick refresher for those of you that aren't aware, the series is set decades before the destruction of Krypton and actually revolves around Superman's grandfather, a dude named Jor-El the First, from what I can gather, though expect his name to change. So it looks like we could be getting it as soon as this fall or potentially the very early beginning of next year. But do you guys really want a Krypton series? I'm going to be interested, I'll check out the pilot, but I don't know what it's going to fill in. And you know, I hate to end the day on a sad note, but in our last story, Michael Keaton has reportedly dropped out of the running for the villain role in Spider-Man Homecoming. The news was definitely overshadowed yesterday by the announcement that Robert Downey Jr. himself would appear in the upcoming movie, but new reports from comicbook.com suggest that Keaton was only ever in very early talks, and it didn't really progress past that initial stage. So it kind of seems all the hullabaloo about his involvement was just a little bit overblown. And while it's sad, it's at the very least understandable. At this stage in his career, it kind of looks like Keaton has moved past the superhero flicks and into the winning Oscars stage of his life, which, you know, while I'm upset about it, I think he would have been great, I've kind of come to terms with it. So in our last comment question of the day, let me know down below, if he really was testing for Vulture, who would you guys like to see in that role? So that wraps it up for another week and another HNN. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like if you liked what you saw. Subscribe for more great content every single day. And consider supporting us on Patreon for access to all of our original content a day early and some exclusive shows that are going to be kicking off very, very soon. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next week.